Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to check out the top 5 features of the brand new TCL 10 5G UW. This one working on the ultra-wideband supported network on Verizon, of course, at a very budget-friendly price, supposedly the lowest price available for a UW device on Verizon. This is TK and this is the TCL 10 5G. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. So here we have it, the brand new TCL 10 5G, again UW for ultra-wideband for support on Verizon. It's going to be retailing for about $399 available as of today. And of course, there's a lot of cool things to talk about, specifically that this actually has a large display, 6.53-inch display, full HD, and of course supports NTX vision, which we'll talk about a little bit here. I want to keep this one here because I want to talk a little bit about the 3D effect. We also have a 2.4 gigahertz octa-core processor. That will be the Snapdragon 765G for support with the X52 modem. Of course, we have 48 megapixel sensor on the back. Actually, we have a triple camera setup on the back. There's basically a 48, an 8, and a 5. We also have a large battery, a 4500 milliampere battery that is built in here with Quick Charge 3.0 support for fast charging. Lastly, we can also talk about the fact that it has 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of internal storage that's expandable via SD card, so SD card support, as well as, of course, 3.5mm headphone jack. The display is definitely beautiful. Again, a full HD display here with NTX vision. That's basically what TCL uses for their displays to give us that vibrant color presence. Now, again, this is a Verizon version of the device. That's why you're seeing some Verizon applications here. So there's a Verizon folder, My Verizon. So the nice thing about this is that it is running Android 10.0 out of the box. Fingerprint sensor is present on the back, no wireless charging. As far as the aesthetics, we have a volume rocker and a power button. The power button is below it. Of course, the 3.5mm headphone jack, one of the microphones. On the left side, we have that SIM tray with the SD card support. On the bottom, we have a bottom-fired speaker and, of course, one of the other microphones for symmetry, and, of course, and last but not least is the USB-C for data and charge. We'll start off first with one of the best features, obviously, is the fact that is the price-to-spec ratio. We're looking at a $399 device that's featuring the 765G processor, 6 gigs of RAM, expandable storage. We have, obviously, a 3.5mm headphone jack, which is also a unique feature, a fingerprint sensor, as well as a front-facing face unlock on this, and, of course, 4K support. So when you look at it in that sense and what obviously TCL is known for their displays, you're getting a lot for the price point that you're getting here. Again, support for the UW on Verizon is actually a big factor, because for $399, that's actually one of the cheapest, more budget-friendly options that you can get. So definitely, first thing, number one thing would be price to feature set. And I would say that at this point, they're definitely winning on this one. Now, they do have a few models, other models than this. So they have the TCL 10L, that's the lower end model at $250. And of course, they have the 10 Pro that runs about $450. So this one is a little bit higher, but both of these are 4G LTE. This is the only one that supports 5G. And again, we saw all three of them at CES 2020. But we finally now have TCL releasing their 5G model in the US. It's been previously available in Europe, but not supporting a UW. This is the first UW model. Moving on to the second feature, obviously, is that's going to be our display. Again, 6.53-inch Full HD. It's a 19.5 by 9 aspect ratio, supported with NTX vision. And what I mean by this is if we go into the settings tab, there's a section here for obviously display configuration. You can go in and customize it. Eye comfort mode, you have dark mode support because of Android 10.0. But of course, we also have NTX vision, and that's the ability of enhancing our pictures in our videos. And you can kind of see it here when it kind of changes the ambient colors here, and it changes them a little bit more rich. So you have the ability of turning on SDR to HDR content automatically, as well as the ability of turning on sunlight display, which enables it to increase the readability during sunlight situation, meaning if you're outdoors, it'll increase the brightness to support it. Color temperature that I have for this right now is set to vivid. That's the standard one that comes out of it. But you're able to tune it between standard, more warm tones or cooler tones. So depending on what you want. And of course, you can have an adaptive tone turned on as well. So that's the second feature. Seriously, the display on this is absolutely fantastic. And as you can see, the images look absolutely fantastic, and it fills up the entire display. This is Netflix. Obviously, you're able to pinch to zoom and fill up the entire 6.53-inch display, and it just looks absolutely nice. One thing to mention, though, that we only have a single firing speaker at the bottom. So to get stereo experience, you definitely want to be able to use a pair of headphones there to get the best experience. But the earpiece itself actually sounds pretty good for phone calls. And of course, there's a lot of things to be said here as far as the benefits of having such a beautiful display. The next thing we'll talk about, obviously, is the cameras. So we have 3 cameras on the back, a single camera on the front. The 3 cameras on the back, we're featuring the 48 megapixel main shooter, and it's capable of shooting 4K 30 frames per second. We have an 8 megapixel wide angle lens, so that's going to be our ultra wide lens. And of course, we have a 5 megapixel macro lens. On both sides, we have dual tone LEDs, and of course, the fingerprint sensor, which doesn't really do anything to the cameras, but it is present on the back. On the front, we have a 16 megapixel sensor that's capable of giving us basically 1080p 30 frames per second. So that's going to be the maximum on the front and 4K 30 on the back. Jumping into the camera application, we have a whole bunch of different modes. We have video, and of course under pictures, which essentially is set to be the auto mode, you have the ability of integrating it with Google Lens, the ability of turning on HDR, different options, as well as jumping into the wide angle lens, or jumping in between the telephoto, essentially just kind of doing a 2 times optical zoom here if you want to be able to jump into it, all the way up to 10 times. Video, portrait, super night mode for nighttime photography, as well as pro mode that's also present here. And if we jump into under the more, we have slow motion, stop motion, of course, light tracing, high pixel, which uses the full version of the 48 megapixel sensor, and of course super macro for the ability of using that 5 megapixel sensor on the back. And of course, last but not least, the panorama. Let's go ahead and jump in real quick and show a quick sample of the front facing and the back facing video from the TCL 10 5G. We're going to start off with a quick sample on the front-facing camera. 1080p 30 frames per second is the maximum we can do here. But let's go ahead and switch over to the back sensor. Switching it over to the back-facing sensor, there's a little bit of wind going on around me. 4K 30 frames per second will be the maximum we can do here. No 4K 60, but it should be pretty decent experience again with the primary 48 megapixel sensor that we have here. Now we're going to jump into the audio test. We're playing Jumbo by Alex Scrindo. And again, this is just kind of rounding up the main benefit of the audio experience as far as the price to feature here. Volume is set to 100%, and one thing I definitely want to mention is that once you have a media playing, let's say a video or anything like that, so let's go ahead and hit play, change the volume, you notice that the actual player changes. You have the actual preview of what you're playing and of course the volume right above it. So I'll go ahead and make the volume high for 100%, and let's go ahead and play the song.
Jack it up.
Now the speaker can definitely get pretty loud, although not going to be the highest quality speaker that you're going to hear. Definitely sounds a little bit tinny at the higher end. So more than likely the headphone jack is going to be the one that's supporting the best experience here that we have on this device. Speaking of the package that we're getting here, the next great feature is that we're featuring the best 7 series processor that we have from Qualcomm for 2020, and that's the 765G, which is powering this device, and the reason why we have UW or 5G support. It's because of the X52 modem that's built in with this, and of course it is the best version that we're able to get. So from a processing power, we're getting the best mid-range processor from Qualcomm in 2020, and of course 5G support with ultra-wideband. That means if we jump into here and start seeing into some of the specifications in the speed test, you can definitely see here that I took my liberty or my time basically testing this out. I was able to hit a few 5G spots. I don't have, unfortunately, an ultra-wideband tower that is near me for me to test, but at the maximum I was able to get even, at pretty decent speeds, 172 down with 38 up. Keeping in mind this is part of Verizon's new 5G nationwide network, which means we're able to actually hit 5G even if we're not close to specifically UW towers. As you can see here, the lowest I was able to get obviously was like 24, and of course the highest I was able to get all the way up to, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw it right there, 172. And you could see here I was testing it throughout the weekend, so definitely a lot of really great things. So of course the last great feature here is the fact that it's selling for $399 on Verizon and supporting UW, which means if you're looking for a large display, a large battery, and of course great processor with the 765G, headphone jack, of course getting the technology with the NTX Vision, you're going to really be enjoying the TCL 10 5G. This is actually a good package for the price that you're getting. You're getting a reasonable price, budget-friendly price for $399, but you're still getting a large display, expandable storage, 6 gigs of RAM, and of course a great camera experience as you're looking at right now. Those are some pictures that I took over the weekend with the family while we took it out with us. So overall, I think the overall, the package that we're getting here is definitely a well-rounded package for a great price. TCL is known for their TVs, and they're not going to disappoint when it comes down to content consumption on this device. So the TCL 10 5G UW is a great deal if you're thinking about picking up a device from Verizon at the end of 2020. Of course, this is going to be a great option for you to check out. Thank you very much to TCL for sending me this unit to check out and of course sharing with you guys my opinions. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think? We've seen the TCL 10L and the TCL 10 Pro in the past with 4G LTE support, and of course now we have the TCL 10 5G, which opens up the opportunities for even more connectivity and great price point from TCL in 2020. Thank you very much for the support. See you guys in the next video.